yeah, we're in the building. Just so everybody know, first official episode of Creej's Corner featuring Creej Round, the Guala, of course, and I got a very, very honorable guest. We got Mr. Raleigh O'Quinn. Let me tell you about him real quick before we start. Mr. Raleigh O'Quinn. Mr. Raleigh O'Quinn is a father. That man is a holy man, a businessman, a man who's got it out the mud, a very intelligent human being, a family man, and last but not least, this gentleman is an American citizen. He's been one of my personal great friends for over 23 years now. And I just want, it's an honor, honestly. It's a real honor to have my man, Mr. Raleigh O'Quinn, on the first official episode of Creed's Corner. How you feel, Mr. O'Quinn?
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be your first man. I like to pop that cherry. You know how it goes.
Listen, appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, brother.
Hard words for you, but I'm here. I'm here. Those are some hard words.
Yeah, yeah. Man, honestly, so the whole point of this whole TV show, man, and you're gonna go through it right now for now anyway, man. Just to explain everything, man. This is just a perspective that I'm getting from um very unlikely people who I really love in my life and people who I don't even know. There'll be people on this show who I never met before in my life, but I just kind of like they stilo and how they move and stuff like that. So, but it's just a real conversation, man. Just trying to figure out what the humankind is like, and I'm just trying to get on my feet and try something different, man, and deciding to do more talking instead of so much just like biased action. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to talk and find out how people are. So like I said, once again, Creed's Corner. Thank you very much, Mr. Riley O'Quinn.
I think that's honestly the a great intro because we should be talking more. Uh, there's a breakdown in communication. You've got all types of people with different perspectives and different opinions who are not communicating with each other.
Right.
And I mean, look, man, straight out of the gate, you're black and I'm white.
Yes.
We went to the same schools
Yes.
and became best friends, and we've known each other this whole time. And I think that people lose perspective. I think when we were younger, our perspective was much more innocent. And as we got older, we started to get both corrupted and also understand things a little bit to a deeper level.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's like we both became corrupted and understood things on a deeper level. And some people chose the side of corruption as deeper than the deeper level. Some people were just like, uh, you know, fuck this person,
Mhm.
and they known this person their whole lives. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like they went to school with this guy. They knew this guy. This guy did nothing wrong to them.
Right.
And
They mama, like I know your peoples. Like, oh, I ate at your house. Yeah.
yeah, dude,
Hey,
went to your house. It's like all kinds. Like it's communication's broken down. So I think that the intro that you had to this is a solid intro because communication needs to open back up.
that's a fact, brother. That's a fact. That's a fact. So I would really like to open up this show. Speaking on how we met in particular. Um, I was very closed-minded at the time. They rap about it these days about being a project baby and all of that, man. But from I'm certainly from around the way, and I had my biases, especially about white people. It's just the truth. And I wound up meeting you on a basketball court back in the Rolling Grice days. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you come up and I was playing offense. I had just made the big rebound, and I never met you in my life. And I looked at you and said, and you were playing defense. And I said, okay, the white boy, the white boy sticking me. I never played. I never actually played organized basketball in my life. I'm very goofy. I'm very bad at basketball. Seriously, like absolutely terrible at the sport.
It's the
But
only way I would have been able to take the ball from you.
I'm like horrible at basketball, and I remember you playing defense, and like you got the rebound, and I wound up sticking defense on you, and I gained a respect because you didn't give a shit how like what I was talking. You were gonna show up anyway.
I'll probably shit
And
talk you
so,
back.
huh?
I was probably shit talking you back.
Oh no, you was talking back. You were
Yeah.
talking back for sure. That's where the respect came from, because it's like he don't care what I'm talking about. And it was ignorant, like it was ignorant, unfortunate, like racist stuff I was speaking to you. Like, man, the white boy can't stick me. And I've said that. I've said that. And once we finished playing basketball, I remember we was like dapping up, hey man, cool motherfucker, you cool, I'm cool. And we was rocking ever since then. Like that's my rendition of how we met. Like we have been rocking ever since, man. So I just wanted to put that out there, bro. Like my ignorance at the time, I'm not gonna apologize for it, because my ignorance at the time actually still, like, I have a relationship with you now to this day because I didn't know any better. So I learned the value in learning shit when you don't know no better. I learned the value in learning things because it might lead to a 23-year, 25-year friendship.
Yeah,
You
that's
feel
true.
what I'm saying?
That's true.
So thank you, Miss O'Quinn, man. Seriously, I appreciate you.
Well, I mean, thank you too as well. I'll say that as far as like being me and you being on the basketball court and us playing together, I'm no good at basketball, first off. So if I did anything to impress you on the basketball court, that's because you're bad at basketball. So I'm gonna put that out there. Okay. I'm gonna put that out there. Now you
Okay.
put me in a contact sport and it's over for you. Okay. Now especially back in the day, you put me in a contact sport and it's over for you. But I will
I'm just
say
saying,
that
hold up, real quick, before you finish. We both was part of the Wilmington Warriors, and you know I wasn't no chump. I'm just saying, Dan Willis and them boys. You know I've been outside for a long
look,
time with that, baby. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
you do all right, all right. But you also know me.
Okay.
You also saw me there too, right? You saw
You
me
were
there too.
there. You were
Oh,
there.
dude, I was taking heads. I was there to take heads, man. I was over there chopping heads off. But no, for real. The interesting part about all of this is to me, um, I'm not going to speak ill on my family because I have a great mother and I have a great father, and they I'm not gonna even go into detail on that, but I will say this, that my mother and my father were not around, and nobody really knew. Some of the teachers knew what was going on, and some of the students knew what was going on. And I would live with some students, I would live with some girlfriends. Even the fathers of some girlfriends would take me in. I lived with one girlfriend for, I want to say, 3 years.
Mhm.
And I mean, her father took me in. uh, but I lived with Hakeem, Muhammad, Moody, Huda. I lived with them for about 6 months off and on.
Good
uh,
people. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you.
Jonathan,
Very,
you know
very
Jonathan.
sensitive, beautiful, like good people.
Yeah,
Those people, very good people. Yes.
Jonathan. Jonathan and his family took me in anytime I needed it. So though I may not have stayed with him constantly,
Yes.
anytime I didn't have a place to go and I reached out to them, they were a family I could rely on.
Yes.
But I was in and out of people's houses like nonstop, so I saw all type of culture. I saw Christian, I saw Jewish, I saw Islam, I saw atheists. I saw all type of culture as a result of this, and I was called white boy. I was called the white boy, and I was called this for a good portion of my life, and I would say it started in elementary school, but it continued on until I got, well out of high school. And when I got out of high school, I would say about close to the time I was getting out of high school, it actually started to feel like I was being called something that was not a friend. So even though you in middle school, may have called me white boy or whatever, I was too young to really put it together what you had been through, you know, what you
That's
had been taught, how you like. I'm too young to put any of this together. You know what I mean? And
yes.
so to me, it was just, oh, well, I am white, you know, like to me, that's all it was. But as I got older, and as everybody else around me got older, it started to feel different. Started to feel like, oh, these people aren't calling me white boy. It they're
Derogatory.
kind of feels like they're calling me black boy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it was it was just a different kind of thing, it's a different kind of thing. But I don't think that people talk about it much because there's not really a audience out there to hear it, you know?
Well, that's what Creej's Corner is for, honestly. I'm gonna start trying to put some perspective on shit. You know what I'm saying? And people who got different things, man. And first and foremost, before I get to, you know what I'm saying, like, while you and I are speaking, um, I just want to be able to speak to single mothers out there. You know what I'm saying, of all races, and single fathers, because there's single fathers out there, they don't get their representative. Um,
Fact.
a lot of people who don't get the representation that they deserve, and I want to talk on it. And if I don't agree on things, excuse me, man, can't edit that out. That's live. But if I uh if I agree on things, I agree, and if there's certain things I disagree on, like, that's what it's supposed to be about. Healthy debate, healthy conversation, and getting that stuff on out the way. So, um, that's what that's about, man. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, sir.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean,
So I
it
want to ask you a question. I do want to ask you a question. You've been on many basketball courts in your life. I knew you personally to have been literally in sports since I've known you. Since I've known you, like you've played some form of sport. You as what I would call, and you were also very tall and like very social. The whole thing with all of those attributes and being on the court. How did it, like? Did you get to the point, or what happened? I guess, how did you feel after you started realizing that people calling you white boy was kind of derogatory? Like, how did you behave after that?
I don't think I don't think I really changed how I behaved necessarily. Not anything that would be measurable to anybody else.
Got you.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
more it was more of I realized it internally. It was like something inside of me registered that I wasn't being called white boy for any good reason. And that I was essentially I will say that I can't speak to how anybody feels on anything. Like I said, I've been in a lot of different houses.
Go ahead.
Uh, I had I'm not going to say his name, but if he watches this, he knows it's him. I had a buddy of mine. I went over to his house, and his mother basically just racistly trash talked me. Um, you know, and he broke down and cried. And he felt bad about it. But that wasn't him. That
Okay.
wasn't him. And I don't have any issues with him at all. But he was upset about it. And we were both young, we were both young trying to figure life out, and here someone he loves was saying some pretty fucked up shit
Right.
to another person who he cared about, you know.
Hey, you're a minor. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't
Yeah,
know who
yeah.
you
Invited
like.
me over to his house, like the whole like, it was a big deal because I want to say it was like the first time I went over to his house, you know. And so it was a big deal because it was like I feel like in a way he was kind of embarrassed that it happened,
Of
but
course,
also like I knew it wasn't him. Even at the time, I knew it wasn't him. I mean, I kind of felt like I felt bad for him at the time. I told him it was okay, the whole deal. But I guess I played a lot of sports. Um, I also played them well all through middle school and high school. Didn't really go to college, not anything to speak of. I just went into business.
yeah,
But in middle school and high school, I played sports and I played them well. And on the sports teams, you work as a team. Like if you're on a team, you work as a team. And there's benefits to that because you do group up together. Football's a really big sport, so you've got a large team. And so the large team, because it's so large, it can take on, two or three different groups, and sometimes more than that. Like you can group up into multiple groups on a single team
of
where
course.
you've got, this click and this click and this click on a single
Yeah,
team. You know, some of the other sports I played were not nearly as large of teams, and so it was very uniform, very central, and that worked out really well. And then some of the other sports I played were one on one, which was more of a man against man, and that was also worked out really, really well. Where if you lost, you knew you lost because you lost. There was
yeah,
nobody you could blame but yourself. If you
yeah,
won, you knew you won because of yourself. There was nobody you could blame except yourself. And
absolutely.
so there were benefits to each area, but I would say football was the largest largest team that I was on. As far as like, I mostly played contact sports, but football had a ginormous team. Even in middle school, it was a pretty big team, even in middle school. And you'd form cliques, and you'd form cliques in it. And so there'd be a group of people who'd hang out here and a group of people who'd hang out there. And like you said, I was a social butterfly. I kind of like mingled between groups because I didn't know really where I fit in.
Right.
I didn't really fit in on. I've never really felt like I fit in. I fit in on the country people side, not hardcore, because a lot of these guys, not hardcore. No, for real, like
Them,
not
the
hardcore.
Castle Cane boys, like yeah, they some of them boys go all the way. I know what you're talking about. They
You know what I
dead.
mean? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know
some of
what
these
you mean.
country boys are okay, but some of these guys that you would like call country boys back in the day were like, I don't know about you. you know, I don't know about you.
A lot of them
But
boys up smoking that methamphetamines or
yeah, I don't
one
know.
robbing a bank or some dumb shit,
I
man, or some church's chicken, man. They wildin', bro. I don't know what's up with them boys.
I couldn't I couldn't hang with those boys, but I really was trying to just find my group, you know. And I know that you like say like, I was a social butterfly and I was in all these sports and everything, but I was really just trying to find my group is all it was. I was just talking to everybody because I didn't really know where I fit in, you know. And
Right.
I kept getting passed around from house to house. I'd live with white people, I'd live with Arab people, I'd live with black people. I'd be bouncing all around. I didn't really know who I fit in with. I was trying to figure out where I was supposed to fit in,
Yeah.
and nobody really knew what was going on. But it's and even some of the people I stayed with, like Travis, I stayed
Right.
with for like a month or two or so, and I don't even really know if he knew what was going on, like really. But I was jumping from house to house, and I was doing it because I didn't really have anywhere else to go.
Right. Right. Well, in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, man, back in those days, it's kind of amazing how, because a lot of kids are going through things with their parents. It's amazing how your friends help raise you. You don't give them credit, but the people that's around you when you go to school with them every day, or you just like are influenced by them, and whatever the case. I don't know if I would have ever joined the Warriors if it wasn't for you. I don't know what made me do it, but it probably was like, hey man, I'm on the team, so uh, I want to get on the team, and things worked out how they did. So you
Yep.
just never. I mean, people need to get their credit, or I should say, kids should get more credit for actually helping raise children, because you and I, man, we were together. I say what 3 years, man. For a
Yeah, that's
lot of
great.
time consecutively. So it helped us, raise each other in many manners. So I
That's
do
true.
want to talk to you about something real quick. Let me get a shot of water. I have a saying that I need to deem somewhere, but it's trailblazing is a path of solitude. Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, I think so. I'll let you elaborate on it, but I think I understand what you're saying.
When I say that, trailblazing is a path of solitude because you're not walking the beaten path. You're doing something different than what people told you. Because you might have had people in your life say, man, you should just go ahead and work at UPS. Man, you
Yeah,
should just go ahead and work with these people because it's so and so and so on and so forth. But you wind up doing something that's so different than maybe what your family culture or the American culture is doing. You do something different than that, and you realize you want support, and you kind of like you show off like, hey man, hey, look what I'm doing, man. I'm out here changing shit, and you don't get the support that you may not expect. You feel what I'm saying? And
yeah.
it's because I realize now everybody's on the beaten path and you're out here in the deep bush, lost. You know what I'm saying? Like
We're
you're
all
out here
we all
by your
are.
different self.
Yeah,
So
we
as
all.
a business owner, go ahead, sir. What you say?
I'm agreeing with you. We all are.
So as a business owner, how do you continue moving forward in this world when there's a lot of not crash test dummies, but I call them. They're bots. They're like Autobots that's just sitting here telling you, hey man, you shouldn't do that. Hey man, I don't know if you should do that. Maybe you should work there. And you're thinking to yourself, nah man, I kind of want to do my own thing. How do you swim those waters?
Well, nobody wanted me to open a business. My wife was the only one.
Okay.
I said that I think we talked about it a little bit, and as soon as she said you can do it, I was like, well, now I have to. As soon as she said you can do it, it was like done. Now I have to do it. You
Right.
know, my mother, my grandmother was alive at the time. My grandmother didn't have an opinion. I think my grandfather on my mother's side had a automotive business. So I think
Okay.
she was more familiar with a business owner than my mother was. My mother and father got divorced. Like I said, my mother, without going into crazy details, my mother and father lived in different areas than I did. And my mother would visit, and I would visit my father sometimes. But I would say that, you know, as a business owner, you're going to be told, or as a regular person, you're going to be told not to do things. You're going to be told that you can't do things. But
Right.
one of the things that I've lived by for quite a while is that impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. And frankly, you only have to beat me on my most motivated day. So, what I mean by that is that
Can you repeat that? You skipped out for a second. Beat me on my most what?
you only have to beat me on my most motivated day.
Okay. Hell yeah.
So, impossible is not a fact. It's just an opinion. Mike Tyson said that a few years back, and I agree with that. I feel like that is the truth. But something I've always lived by is that you have to beat me on my most motivated day, which is that, and I don't know if I ever heard this from anybody or if I just internalized this, but you, if you think you're beating me, you're in trouble. Like that's the way my mind worked, was that if you felt like you were beating me, you were in a bad situation, because at
Right.
that point I am now the most motivated I've ever been.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I
so
know
you
what you.
you've only got to beat me on my most motivated day, which is the day I'm losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
I like that a
so
lot.
yeah.
I like that a lot. I usually say you gotta wake up. You gotta wake your ass up pretty early in the morning. But I do like that saying. Beat me on my most motivated day. Then, I mean, which is impossible. That is impossible.
Yeah,
Even though possible is not possible, beating me on my most motivated day is damn near impossible. Seriously.
gonna be
So,
tough. It's gonna
huh?
be tough. It's not impossible, but it's gonna be tough. Nothing is impossible, but damn sure gonna be tough to beat me on my most motivated day. If I feel like you're beating me, you're in trouble at that point, because now I'm gonna try really, really, really hard. You
Yeah.
know. And so when people told me that, like, you shouldn't do this or you can't do this, I will say that the moment my wife said, "Yeah," was like, "Oh, well, I've got a lot of people to prove wrong then." I've got one person to prove right, and I've got a lot of people to prove wrong. And it was a good motivation. It was a good motivation. I had one person behind me who was motivating me from behind, and I had a bunch of people in front of me telling me I couldn't do it. And it was like, all right, well, this is no different than any other contact sport. I'm just going to mow them over. And
Right.
that's the way that I moved forward with that. But yeah, I mean, that's really how it comes down. That's just my mentality on it.
Here we go. Can you still hear me well?
I can, yeah.
Here we
Can
go.
you hear me well?
I can very well. Thank you. I do want to ask you. I am a man, single man, no children. My lifestyle is very reckless, and sometimes might even be considered dangerous. I can take risks that others can't. Very big risk that others simply just can't do. And I do want to ask you, got beautiful kids. How do you feel about, and it's not only in this culture, but in the terrain and like the world coming up? How do you feel about the world? I mean, your child inheriting the current world and how it is. Do you feel optimistic? Do you feel, pessimistic about it? Like, what are your thoughts about that? And do you think that the future generations can thrive in what we're leaving them?
I'm so glad you asked this. I'm so glad you asked this question. This is a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm optimistic.
Okay. That's
I'm
wonderful.
I'm definitely optimistic, and I'll tell you why. It's because my kids got something I ain't got. They got both parents. They got a house, a roof that's stable to live under. Um, and this is great because, look, not everybody gets this, but that's also part of it. Is that me's got to be made, you's got to be made, we all got to get made, you know.
Right.
And I'm just glad I can provide something that I didn't have, you know, like I can provide stability, you know. So what I will say is that, as a person thinking about having a relationship or having a serious relationship or having children, that what you should really be thinking about during this process is, are you actually ready to do these things? Because if you're actually ready to do these things, If you really want to have a wife, if you really want to have children, one of the things that I wanted more than anything in the world was to have children. I wanted to be a husband and a father more than anything in the world. And if you go back to second grade and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I had
Right.
two, well, I had three answers. I wanted to be an astronaut. That was one. I wanted to be an astronaut. The other
Okay.
two were I wanted to be a husband and a father. And I put that down on paper. I mean, long ago, I wanted to be a husband and a father. And so I think that our culture, and I think culture has a lot to do with it, but I think culture really brings people to feel scared about being husbands, fathers, mothers, um, wives. That you're afraid of this thing because, oh, what if he cheats on me? What if she cheats on me? What if I don't love my children? What if my children are bad? You start thinking about things in a way which you can't control because you haven't even dealt with it yet. You know, all you can do is control you. You can't control your wife. You can't control your husband. You can't control your kids. All you can do is control you. And so what you have to do is you have to be a good husband or a good wife, and then you have to be good kids,
Yeah.
and a good father or a good mother. If you're a good father, good mother, good husband, good wife, you're going to set a good example for your children. That's it. That's it. That's it. And so all I wanted to do was set a good example for my children, and I don't do that very well. I'm doing okay, but nobody's perfect, man. Nobody's perfect, and I think that's also part of the character building process is that your kids get to see the imperfection within their own parents.
Of
We're
course.
going to I remember growing up and thinking my father, who I didn't see very often, was like Superman. I remember
Yeah.
feeling this way about him, that he was like this mythical creature which was like Superman. My mother never said a bad word about my father, never. So this was this impenetrable person who could do no wrong, you
Okay.
know, never said a bad thing about him. And as I got older, I started to realize my father was human. And that was there was a brief moment where I felt like, damn, damn, Dad, really? Like you make mistakes, you mess up.
Right.
But it was very brief. It was a very brief moment where I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm human too. I make mistakes. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I can't. It's hard to put it into words, but I've got no ill will towards my mother or father. I've got no ill will towards really anybody, not my stepfather, nobody,
Right.
because I realized that everybody's got their own weight, you know.
Of course.
And so as you get older, you realize everybody's got their own weight, and that nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Um, some of the mistakes you wish you understood why they made them. Like you wish, like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Why did this happen? But at the end of the day, I can't really hold it against them because I wasn't in their shoes. All I can do is do the best I can do. And so if you're thinking about being a mother or a father, husband or wife, you can't control the other person. You can only control yourself. The other person's going to do whatever they're going to do. You got to do the right thing. You got to be the bigger person. If one of the best quotes I ever heard, dang, I wish I could remember who said this so I could shout them out, but it is that the best relationships are of two people who are very forgiving. That's the best relationships. You have to be able to forgive each other, and encourage each other. But you've got to be able to have a little bit of grace with somebody and say, look, I realize you're human, you know,
Right.
and that's really what it comes down to.
And I agree with that. All relationships, work relationships, the woman that you love, or your parents, or your sisters, or your brothers. Like I totally
Yes.
understand stand with that. Like it's gotta be some there's gotta be some forgiveness. Unfortunately, sometimes um there are people that's in that vicinity that commit certain I say like crimes against you, where it's like, you know what, I'm not rocking with you for a long time.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you wear that sin because I say to myself, like, I'm not wearing that sin, man. I don't care about that, man. Like that they messed up. But the truth is I do still think about it like, damn, I got people out there I don't talk to. And
Yeah.
just there's a misinterpretation of information.
You're
And we just
human.
not getting something done. So
Yeah.
there's like nephews I never met before in my life. There's cousins I never met before in my life because I'm having issues with the parent. And I feel sorry about that. So
Well, you're human.
yeah,
You're human, and they are too. And I would encourage you to reach out and try. And I will tell you that you will not regret it. You know why I know you will not regret it is because as you get older, you will realize that you tried.
mm,
And that if it didn't work because of you. It didn't work not because of you, I guess is what I should say. It didn't
mm,
work because of them. So it would be better that you attempted and tried than you didn't attempt at all. You will be forever grateful as you get older that you had at least attempted to do something and it didn't work.
right,
But at that same thing, you've also got to have that period of grace within yourself and forgiveness of other people. Because if I just held this feeling that anybody who wronged me uh, on any particular thing was going to be never spoken to ever again, there'd be a lot of people I didn't speak to. You know,
right.
I can think of probably one or two people in my life where this is occurring,
Okay,
and that's why I say we're all human. I'm dealing with the same thing as well. One person, I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but one person, um, yeah, I mean, I don't see any way to repair this. Another person is, and I mean, I prayed on this. I've prayed on this. I've prayed for trying to figure out how to forgive. You know, and
right.
I'm just not there. I'm just not there. It is what it is. And then there's another person who, um, I just want to know what I did wrong. What did I do wrong? I'd like to know so I can do better. There's one person who I know did, like you say, the word you used was criminally wrong,
Yeah,
and those things exist, and it's very hard to forgive those things. And then there's things where may have been criminal nowadays, but if we really look back in history, life's tough. You
right.
know, life's tough. So at the end of the day, the other person, I just want to know what I did wrong. You know, what
Absolutely.
what didn't I do right? I wasn't a bad. I wasn't bad. I felt like I was a pretty good kid.
And then uh, when those situations happen, I also realize, just for example, I'm still a bachelor, so I can tell you my stories. Like I might have been dealing with this chick, you know what I'm saying? And I put the loving down on her. You know what I'm saying? Like she had the very best of my love. You know what I'm saying?
All right, bro. She was faking it first off. So let's
No,
let's
man.
just
Look, maybe.
look.
I hope so, man. But if so, she deserves an Oscar. But it's like giving her the best of my love, and then sometimes this happened to me before, and then they don't hit you back. They don't hit you back, and it's just like, man, what did I do? I know I was the man. I spit the right game. I was dressed to the nines. Niggas' breath was smelling fresh. But then you realize, like, as I got older, like, oh shit, man. that woman's married. Or man, that lady might have, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Well,
don't know. I always keep my shields on me. Maybe the lady's got a sickness. You know what I'm saying? That she can't actually feel relatable to any able bodied person because I'm gonna keep the shields on me. So it's like, or maybe she's got some crazy baby daddy that's actually tried to kill her ass before. You know what I'm saying? So I realized at that point, like you just don't know what people are actually going through. So I agree with you on that, honestly. You just
I
don't
think you
know.
I think you should take those relationships and just use them as learning advice for future relationships. Because I mean, we've both been in our share relationships, and there's always something to learn from it. There's always something you can learn from it. Like you did all these things right, but she didn't show up. So there's two lessons to learn from that. One is that she wasn't ready, or one is that you weren't ready. Which one is
Mhm.
it? Which one is it? Was she not
Usually,
ready? You not ready? And that's a deep question, because it's not surface level. It's not like, were you ready for a relationship? Is, were you ready for her? And it's not, was she ready for a relationship? Is, was she ready for you? Like, that's a deep question. That's not just a surface level question.
hold on, bro. I'm tell you what, this stupid ass camera. My sake. Man, no more shopping at Temu. There we go. Shopping like a billionaire. You there with me, bro? Riley?
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
All right. Let me get it. Hey, there we go. Boom. There we go. Probably made in China. Yeah.
More than likely. But for real, I mean, that's what it really comes down to, is those questions. It's really, it's a binary question, which is, were you ready or was she ready? Or were neither of you ready? That's what it really comes down to. If you were ready for her, or she was ready for you, it would have worked out. It, it
Right,
would it would have, because that's what frankly, what else are you going to believe? What else are you going to believe? Are you going to believe that if you were both ready for each other, it wasn't going to work out? You know what I mean? Is that what you're going to believe? You only
right.
you only have one answer here, which is that both of you are ready for each other, or one of you's ready and the other's not, or neither. That you don't have any other answers. So at the end of the day, you can only work on you. You can't fix the other person. I mean, like, we've both been in our share relationships. I've made mistakes in past relationships that I can't fix, and it's not their fault. I made the mistakes. They didn't make the mistakes. I made them. You
I get
know.
it. Yeah, yeah,
So it's like, I can't blame them. I made the damn mistakes. But at the same time, there were some girls that were not for me. They weren't
right.
for me. So you both have to be for each other. You both have to be ready for each other. And that's what it really comes down to. And if it doesn't work out like that, it's not going to sync right. It's not going to feel right. There's going to be some chemistry off. Somebody's going to have bigger goals than the other person. You're going to,
Right.
like, you're not going to be feeling encouraged. There's going to be all sorts of things which are going to happen as a result of trying to force something to happen. When in reality, all you have to do is push yourself. You don't have to push her. You don't have to do. All you got to do is encourage and love. I love you. You're going to do great. That's
Yeah,
it. That's all anybody wants to hear. All anybody wants to hear is, I love you. You're going to do great.
yeah.
And then you have to work on you, because if you
That,
don't work on you, you're not going to be what they need you to be.
yes.
You know. So you've got to work on you, and then you got to say, I love you. You're going to do great. And that's it. That's really what it comes down to.
Aspirations part you were talking about, one's aspirations being bigger than the other one. I was in a situation where the lady I was dealing with was an absolute, what I would like to call a dead light bulb, or a dim one anyway. She
Yeah.
was dim. her light was very dim. She didn't shine bright. And when she got around somebody who light actually shine very bright, after she tried to siphon the light from me, and she regained her strength, she also realized you could never steal the light from me because I am the sun. Did that make sense?
Yeah, I would say so.
So
You can't
my
steal from somebody
go
else.
ahead.
You can't steal from somebody else. I mean, it's temporary. It's like you said, like you can you're your own sun. She can stand out in the sun and she can gain vitamin D from the sun, but the moment she steps out of it, she's lost vitamin D, you know?
Exactly.
So you're your own son. So it makes perfect sense to me if somebody's trying to steal your energy, that you're gonna feel that as opposed to feeding your energy and saying you can do this. I believe in you, while themselves working on themselves. While
Right.
themselves trying to do better and trying to be a better partner, a better husband or a better wife, a better mother or a better father.
Respect, brother. Respect. Let's get through a few more of these items real quick, man, before we shut this thing down, man. Do you have up into an hour?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's deal with this, man. Okay. I like that one. Let me ask you a pretty frank question. Have you ever heard of the term white privilege?
I'm not frozen. I'm not frozen. Nah, my face wasn't frozen. Not at all.
So let me ask you a question. And I don't want to lead you, but like
Oh boy.
I don't think it exists much anymore, but like when you hear that term, what does that mean to you?
Oh man. Okay. Well, to me, I would say that everybody's got a little bit of different privilege, and everybody is has grown up in a different circumstance.
Mhm.
I was envious growing up of certain people, and I've also felt bad for other. I mean, this is why I really don't this is why I can't really be upset about anything, is because I had been in so many houses, I had seen so many things that I knew that I didn't have it the worst. Even though I was hopping around from house to house, I didn't have it the worst. I
Mhm.
saw people who had it worse than me, you know? And
Yeah.
so I was able to have a little bit of perspective from that. But I will say this. I will say this. As far as white privilege goes, I don't really feel like that's I don't really feel like that's a reality at this point. It goes back to what we first started off when you said that you called me white boy.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it didn't really mean much, but as I got older, I started to realize that I was not being like, I bet if I called you black boy at the time with a smile on my face,
Mhm.
you know, that
Yeah.
you probably would have brushed it off a little bit. You
Right.
probably like hey bud, black boy, what's up,
Right.
you probably would have just let it roll off your shoulders and it wouldn't have meant anything to you. But as I got older and I kept calling you black boy,
Right.
all of a sudden it would have a different ring to it. It'd be like, why am I still being referred to as this?
Right.
Why am I still this? Why am I not just Riley? why
Yeah.
why am I being called this thing?
Right.
And why am I being segregated?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to. Is at a point I started to feel like, damn, why am I being segregated? Like I don't hang out with nobody but you guys.
Right.
I'm
What
literally
the hell are
hanging out
y'all
with
talking
black
about?
and Arabic people.
Yeah.
Like I don't hang out with anybody else, and here I'm being segregated, like I've got some other people to go to. you know
Right.
and so it was a interesting feeling, but obviously that's not everybody's growing up. I will say that as white privilege goes nowadays, people feel like I'm going to get treated differently because I'm white. I can speak firsthand to that. No, no, no. It's culture. It's culture, baby. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You get treated different based off of your culture, not your skin color. And I can tell you this because I used to sing Mystical Shake Your Ass in second grade. I
Okay.
loved rap from the moment I heard it. I loved it. And I internalized a lot of the stuff that rap said. Now that's a culture right there.
Right.
Rap, rap's a culture.
Rap
And
is a culture.
I internalized it. And I tried to live it. And let me tell you, you try to live that culture, you're not going to end up on the right side of the law.
No.
There's no circumstance in the world where you end up on the right side of the law. Internalizing a culture which breaks the law. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No.
You know,
Well,
if your culture is saying fuck the police, sell
yeah.
drugs, fuck bitches, and do drugs,
And if they just outright calling each other nigga, 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 and when you look at the other music, it's like Garth Brooks isn't calling white people cracker. Garth Brooks isn't like, you know what I'm saying, like Post Malone isn't like denigrating his own race. Like, why are we doing this, and why is it so normalized? So when I
well,
asked you about that,
yeah,
about the God damn, I'm sorry, what was the word I used? The white privilege. Like, having grown up, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been to my place and I've been to your place, and we knew how we each other was living or whatever the case is. But like, man, we went to the same school, we ate the same school lunch, like the same like wannabe punk ass bullies still had to be dealt with at the school, whoever that person claimed they was gonna be. Like I, I I don't think, at least in my position, that white privilege is actually even a thing, because I don't know about any privileges now. I don't know about any privileges that any human being can get away with because I'm black and that they're not. Does that make sense? Black. Only like they might know different people than me, but I don't know anybody that has more privileges than me because I'm black. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get where you're coming from, and I think that there's going to be a breakdown in certain things. One is that white's going to recognize white, black.
Oh man. Damn. We was just getting good too, man. That boy got the sexy chrome dome, but it still got a little fuzz on the top. Still got a little fuzz on the top. Let's see what's going on, my man. Let's go, man. This is a great episode. I don't know what's going on. Let's see how it is, man. Hold on. My man phone died. Man. Let me throw some shout outs while my shout outs is out here. This is Creej's Corner, funded by Light Father, Light Son podcast. But this particular episode is produced by Divas Holland at gmail.com. Divas Holland Incorporated. Yes, thank you. So Divas Holland Incorporated, I was in a situation where I really needed to get some stuff moved out. And I was in a tight predicament. I didn't have much money. And I called, searched the Googles, find Divas Holland Incorporated, and these people were able to move me from my home to my next destination effortlessly. I barely put in any work. I pointed and showed the way, and Divas Holland Incorporated was able to take care of everything. Okay, they take the aches out of backaches. You feel what I'm saying? Or the backs out of backaches. So I just want y'all to know, you make sure to get in touch with Diva Holland Incorporated at gmail.com. Catch it at the ticker at the bottom, right there, right there at the bottom. Catch it at the ticker, and these people get you moved. Junk, if you need junk moved, if you need furniture moved, if you need china moved, okay, all of that stuff taken care of. Divas Hauling Incorporated at gmail.com. And so, my man, Mr. O'Quinn's gone. It's looking like it's a wrap for now, anyway. Thank y'all so much for coming in. It's unfortunate because we got a couple viewers. So, yep. And shout out to In Season Supply Company at gmail.com. Scroll at the bottom. All right. Creej Brown out of this jump. Thank you.